Good morning. Thank you. My name is Dr. Rajat Sinha. I'm a medical doctor turned product strategist and a tribe building expert. Today I'm going to be talking about a different kind of startup, a tribe building startup. Thank you. Now, the startup scene in India is undergoing rapid transformation. As the third largest startup hub in India, we are breaking the barriers of job creation and innovation. Now, with this growth come certain types of challenges. I'll be talking about those. And in addition to that, I'll be talking about a new approach, that of boosting profits plus a socially cohesive enterprise. And I call it the tribe building enterprise. Now, let's just quickly look at the current scenario. As per Bain and Company, foreign venture capital reduced from 2022 to 23 from $20 billion from $26 billion to $10 billion. In spite of that, India remains a top startup hub with over 100,000 companies per year. Much of it is because of Startup India, which is a great government initiative, helps in starting a business, protecting your IP, and giving you tax breaks in return for your innovation. Underlying all of this is a trellis of 5,400 plus incubators and accelerators that help during the startup stage and also help in getting access to capital. In spite of all of this, the startup ecosystem is seeing some challenges which are almost perennial in nature now. The first of them is infrastructure, especially in smaller cities, is still hamstrung. When a new company is starting, they want to get access to cheaper workforce, they want to get access to cheaper real estate, and getting that in smaller cities is just simply difficult because of the hamstrung infrastructure. Secondly, smaller companies don't have access to top-tier advisory brains for planning and short-term market research. And thirdly, if they are in the B2C segment, the customer is very, very price sensitive and does not have access to credit. So being able to afford their products is also a question mark. Enter the tribe building enterprise. The tribe building enterprise is a sustainable, purpose-driven company that builds communities around shared values and goals. The priority over here is the shared ecosystem and self-growth versus mindless product consumption. Revenues are linked to experiences and corporate and collaborative problem solving rather than product throughput. Simply put, the growing tribe itself is the product of a tribe building enterprise. Let me just give you some references of people who have studied this phenomenon and they've written about it. So Simon Sinek in his book, Start With Why, talks about purpose and belongingness. We have a lot of young people over here today, and you would probably be resonating with it when I say that youngsters today are not merely looking for a job with a paycheck. They want to feel that they are part of something bigger. How many of you agree? Yes. Thank you. In Cannibals with Forks, the author talks about sustainability and positive social impact. If you have these drivers, companies are forced to be profitable as well as responsible. Johnson, in his book Collaborative Problem Solving, talks about diverse perspectives and different brains coming together with more creative problem solving for common problems. Collaboration creates creativity, and creativity results in better problem solving. In a tribe building enterprise, customers are an integral part of the product ecosystem, of the product strategy. In fact, clients themselves create newer lines of products while the business house works only on the marketing and branding of the shared ecosystem. That way, clients become a collaborative part of the product ecosystem. In addition to that, more responsibility at every level reduces pressure on the government to create traditional jobs. Much of the work is done remotely because it's white-collar work, which leads to less traffic, better use of commercial real estate, more cost savings, and higher productivity. How many of you think that's more sustainable? Yes. Thank you. Davenport and Prusak talk about bringing retirees back into the workforce. Retirees at the peak of their knowledge, the peak of their experience, are relegated to the sidelines, and in a tribe building enterprise, they are brought back into the workforce, and in a collaborative format using apps and software, their knowledge is shared widely. This brings about huge amount of intergenerational knowledge transfer, which is sadly missing in the corporate growth cycle of today. Now let's come to the paramount reason that I personally feel surpasses all these logistical reasons for the tribe building enterprise. We are living in the age of enlightenment. We have surpassed the agrarian age. We have surpassed the industrial age. We have even surpassed the information age. Today is the age of Aquarius, the age of self-realization. The human consciousness is increasingly bothered about the question of why. Why am I here? Where does all this lead to? What is my purpose? Who am I? The concept of I or the sense of self is an illusion that the human is increasingly becoming aware of. The self or my concept of I is nothing but a 3D holographic projection of the people that I am surrounded by and my own responses to my own life experience. It follows then that the truest version of I or me can only come through surrounding myself with like-minded people who don't know me from anywhere. They are not my friends, they're not my family, they don't know me from school or college. But they have decided to be in my vicinity for the common good or the common goal of the tribal vision. Briefly put, to find yourself, you must lose yourself in a tribal mission, and the ultimate vehicle for that is the tribe building enterprise. Now, what do we need in order to make a tribe building entrepreneur or a tribe building enterprise a significant part of the ecosystem? First of all, a government support. I'd really like to compliment the government has done a bang-up job in enabling businesses to thrive. However, in the overall matrix, in the overall framework, the tribe building enterprise needs its own identity, which currently it doesn't have. Secondly, financial institutions in our country are way too defensive. We talk about becoming the third biggest, second biggest economy, but if we compare out the overall stance of our financial ecosystems, they're extremely defensive. In spite of having financial schemes like the Mudra schemes, etc., they are way too dependent on individual nodal players and decision takers that they haven't actually become a key part of, of the entrepreneurial growth in this country. Education system also needs to have reinvention. In a study that was done across 38 countries and how synergistic is college education with the needs of the industry, Germany was number 1, Sweden, America were in the top 5, and India was in the bottommost quartile in 38 countries. That means there's a huge gap between the education system and the industrial or the entrepreneurial system. In addition to that, platform for collaborative partnerships, way too much needs to be done. The innovation is only going to come from smaller companies, smaller enterprises. Large companies don't innovate that fast, but they do have the resources, they can provide the mentorship, and they can have the collaborative platform, which becomes a win-win for both parties, the larger enterprise and the smaller enterprise. Now we are moving from two extremes into a middle path, one extreme being the corporate boardroom, the second being hyper-mobile influencers, into a middle path which is like the guided pathfinder who can inspire as well as create practical ways for growth and impact. I would invite all of you to contribute to this movement. Regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur, you're an investor, you're a policymaker, or you're just a consumer, it is everyone's responsibility to contribute towards creating an ecosystem where businesses can thrive and create value for society. Let's build this future where entrepreneurship is not just about individual success, but it's about lifting communities, solving shared problems, and creating a fairer world. The opportunity is immense, and the time to act is now. Thank you.